You feel it too, don't you? The valley is changing, growing heavier, as though each night presses closer than the last. Sit with me, my curious friend. The fire feels strange this evening, warmer than it should be, as if it knows what lies in these final pages. What Albertus uncovered in these next entries is unlike anything he wrote before. Secrets the valley folk tried to bury, stories older than Greifberg stones, and the truth so sharp it leaves scars in its wake. I've had my suspicions about what's happening here, and it seems, well, perhaps it's better if I just read it to you. And I quote, "The locals were suspicious of me. Hearing my questions, they would wince, as if I had just touched a sore spot. Desperate to learn their secrets, I tried everything to make them speak, but to no avail. Until one day, I travelled to the village of Lasley. There, seated in the shade of a sprawling beech, I saw a wise old man. His name was Dislav, and he was the hamlet's elder. As I introduced myself and my project, his sunken eyes lit up with curiosity. He motioned me to his hut. 'Trees have ears,' he whispered, as he shut the doors behind him." End quote. I've walked past trees in this valley that seem to lean closer just to hear me breathe. So when Albertus writes that the elder whispered, "Trees have ears," I believe him. But not literally. It's not necessarily the trees. It's the air around them. The fog that clings to the mountain like a baby to its mother's chest. There is something here. There always has been, watching from within the trees, within the fog. And the ways Dislav's eyes lit with curiosity, that alone should have warned him. Village elders in hidden valleys rarely share their secrets without reason. Let's turn the page for now. You must hear more. Albertus wrote, and I quote, "I visited Stislav of Lasley many times, wrapped in greasy sheepskins, lit by glowing embers and screened by wisps of smoke. He shared his stories. They spoke of fearsome warriors from ages past, decked in gold and coloured plumes, fighting pale wraiths among the moonlit peaks, of tiny forest folks with cat's eyes, forked tongues and teeth like needles, of ancient ruins filled with bubbling blood. They warned of horned mountain beasts and lizards the size of horses burrowing in the peat bogs. I listened to Zdislav for hours, my quill dancing on the parchment to the tune of his rasp voice." End quote. These are not tales for children. These are the stories a land tells when it remembers its oldest wounds. Warriors crowned in gold, fighting pale wraiths on moonlit peaks. Tiny forest folk with needle teeth and pupils that shine like a cat's in the dark. Ancient ruins where blood does not dry, but bubbles. The valley is not merely strange, it is ancient. Older than the cathedral, older than Greifberg, older than the people who fear the dark. Old enough that even its myths feel like memories. And the way Albertus wrote this passage, breathless, quill racing, you can can feel the moment he realized the valley held far more than superstition. Can you see it? The picture painted before us. I have seen these creatures before, in other realms, each iteration different but familiar. There is urgency tonight. We must continue. The next page reads, and I quote, "Once I asked Sebastian if he believed his stories to be true. Are Vale Sangora's dark woods truly the home of mischievous fairies? Were its winding paths really once trodden by proud heroes and mysterious warlocks? Should we all fear blood-craving licors emerging from the shadows at sunset to feed on our blood?" For a moment, he said nothing, seemingly lost in thought. But then, he unbuttoned his woolen kaftan and showed me his neck. I noticed 2 small round scars right over one of the veins. And so, all my questions were answered, all my doubts resolved. End quote. 2 scars, round, perfectly spaced, not the mark of a blade, not the bite of a wolf, not a wound left by accident, but a signature, a claim. Sebastian did not need to explain the stories further. His scars spoke the truth. Something in this valley feeds, and suddenly, every whispered warning, every shutter slammed at dusk, every padlock clamped with trembling hands, makes perfect, terrible sense, doesn't it? Albertus received his answers, but I suspect he did not want them. Can you see it now, traveller? Surely you do. We've known all along, haven't we? Yet for some reason, you still show up and receive these stories by the fire. I do thank you for humouring me. Let's move on to what I believe to be the final recollection of Albertus Taurinus. He wrote, and I quote, "Secluded as Vale Sangora is, it is not cut off from the world completely. A trader from Constanta arrived yesterday, his clothing in tatters, his voice shaking with fear. He spoke of a plague spreading like a forest fire through his city, of people dying in the streets, of bodies spilling from overfilled mass graves. Kniaz Skender ordered a vigil in Svartrau's cathedral, led by his personal confessor, Father Florin. All the valley's priests are to pray day and night, begging the heavens to spare us from the plague. And so, I need to take a break from writing this book, hopefully for just a few weeks. May God protect us all." End quote. A plague beyond the mountains, priests praying without sleep, Skender sealing the valley in fear. This changes everything, traveller. For weeks now, Albertus has written of dangers born of the valley itself, of wraiths, creatures, old gods, and scars that whisper. But this is the world outside trying to claw its way in. And just as this plague begins to spread, Albertus stops writing. Not because he is finished, but because something has begun. A valley full of secrets, surrounded by death, presided over by a tyrant, and haunted by things that no longer hide. We've reached the end of the pages I possess, and the fire feels colder for it. But the story is far from over. Tomorrow, I descend into Svartrau, into the city, into the heart of what this valley has been trying so hard to hide. I will walk its streets, its alleys, its shadows, and I will write my own findings, quietly, like a fly upon the wall. Vale Sangora was never meant for the faint of heart. Fortunately, I have a talent for moving unseen, for gathering stories without disturbing the dust. And fear not, traveller, you carry that gift as well. So come, join me, and whatever awaits us there, I doubt it will greet us kindly. Until we next cross paths, friend, may stories linger like embers in the night.